What I was taught by my teacher was Zazen, so-called Zen Buddhism, and that tradition in Japan started by Zen Master Dogen or Dogen Zenji, and we call that tradition as Soto Zen. And the main point of Dogen's teaching was just sitting. We usually think this meditation practice is to attain some kind of enlightenment or awakening, but Dogen said we should just sit without any expectation, even enlightenment. Because we practice in order to get enlightenment, then that is desire. Desire or egocentric desire is still working there in search of truth. So from the very beginning, we just, in Dogen's expression, throw ourselves into the way without expecting any reward. That is what is called just sitting, or shikantaza in Dogen's teaching. My teacher's teacher, Sawaki Kodo Roshi, said, Zazen, this sitting meditation is good for nothing. I always said, this is good for nothing. And that is what I recommend people, and it's really difficult to encourage people to practice this way because this is good for nothing. Zazen without expectation or without gaining mind, or Zazen good for nothing, is a kind of a koan. Because even when we started to practice, we have some expectation. I think almost always because we have some problem or some difficulty or some question, we start to practice. And so without expectation, at least to find some answer to question or exit from the problem I'm facing. So without expectation or goal, we cannot start to practice. Here is a kind of a conflict. We usually call this a way-seeking mind. And without this way-seeking mind, or in Buddhist term, bodhicitta, the mind which seeks awakening or discover the truth, we cannot start to practice. But the teaching is you should not even expect the answer. So here is a conflict. When we continue to practice, this becomes really a serious question. And sometimes we have to face the dead end. Deep in my heart, I think, to practice good for nothing Zazen is the most authentic practice in Buddhist tradition. That's why I'm okay. That's why my life is meaningful. One day, I found myself sitting alone, not as a practitioner within the Sangha, or not as a Buddhist priest, in a kind of a social occupation. I really sat myself and I found deep peace there. That means I don't need to be a good boy. I can be just sit. And I found that is really Zazen that is good for nothing. But before that, I intellectually understood Zazen is good for nothing as a Buddhist philosophy. But because of that, I felt my life is okay, meaningful. When I couldn't continue in that way, I felt my life is not valuable. But I found that is the ground we need to practice with that desire to be a good boy, not only in the secular, mundane way, but even as a Buddhist. I became free from my desire to be a good Buddhist. Finally, I think first time I found the real meaning of Zazen is good for nothing. or practice without expectation or gaining mind. So just be there with this body and mind. When we sit, we don't really listen anything. We don't pay any attention. That's even the birds are singing and we are sitting. If I listen to their singing and thinking these are the birds, then it's not learning anymore. Even when I do this, there's a separation between person sitting and the sound. There's a kind of an interesting Koan story in Zen, and Dogen likes this. A teacher asked a student, pointing the wind bell. And the teacher asked, is the wind make sound? Or does the bell make sound? Then the student said, my mind makes sound. Neither wind nor bell, but my mind makes a sound. That means, when wind blows the wind bell, it makes the vibration. And that vibration of the air reaches to my ear, then it becomes sound. So before the vibration reaching my ear, there's no sound, right? Sound is only inside of our mind. I think that is why the student said, my mind make the sound. But Dogen said that is not true. Because even if my mind is working, if the wind doesn't blow and the wind bell doesn't shake and the air doesn't vibrate, then there's no sound. So all of them are making sound. That means this entire universe is making sound. So there's no subject who listen and no object or sound that is heard. That is what Dogen called it the total function. We are part of it. So there's no such person who is listening, no sound that comes to me, but this entire world is making that sound through this person. And this person is only tiny part of it.